All right, let's break down a simple but really powerful strategy that could be your fastest way to a higher credit score. It all boils down to understanding one key date that honestly, most people completely miss.
So, has this ever happened to you? You pay your credit card bill in full on time. You're doing everything you're supposed to do, right? You feel super responsible, and then you check your credit and see that your score actually went down. It's so frustrating, and it makes you feel like the whole system is just rigged against you. But I promise you, it's not. You just fell into a really common trap.
And yeah, that trap, I call it the due date trap. See, we've all been drilled to think that the payment due date is the only date that matters. And look, for avoiding late fees, it is. But when we're talking about your actual credit score, focusing only on that due date is a huge mistake.
Okay, so here's the big secret that changes everything. You've got your payment due date. That's when your money has to be in. We all know that one. But the really critical date, the one that directly tells the credit bureaus what to put on your report, is the statement closing date. That's the one that really matters for your score.
To make this crystal clear, let's use an analogy. I want you to stop thinking of your credit report as a continuous movie of your financial life. It's not. It's more like a single photograph, just a snapshot, that gets taken once a month. And here's why that's so important. The credit bureaus don't see you swiping your card every day. They don't see you making payments throughout the month. Nope, they only see that one single snapshot your bank sends them. And the problem is, that snapshot is almost always taken before you've paid the bill, when your balance is usually at its highest. Let's just walk through a typical cycle, okay? Your billing cycle starts on day 1. You use your card for about 30 days. Then, on day 30, boom, that's your statement closing date. That's the exact moment the camera flashes and the snapshot is taken. Your actual payment due date isn't for another 3 weeks or so, but the picture has already been sent off.
And that is the whole problem right there. If you happen to have a $2,000 balance on that closing date, well, the credit bureaus are told you're carrying $2,000 in debt. Does it matter that you're going to pay it all off 2 weeks later? Nope. The snapshot has been taken and it shows a high balance, which can really hurt your score.
So how do we fix this? How do we take back control of that photograph? This is where the 48-hour rule comes into play. It's our strategy to make sure we always look our absolute best right when that camera flashes. The strategy itself is actually super simple. Instead of waiting for the bill to show up and then paying it, you proactively pay down your balance 2 or 3 days before your statement closes. This way, when that snapshot gets taken, the balance that gets reported is super low. Think of it this way, right? You wouldn't let a photographer show up to take pictures of your house for a magazine when it's a complete mess. Of course not. You'd clean up first. The 48-hour rule is just that. It's tidying up your credit balance right before it gets reported to the world. Okay, so you get the what and the why. Now let's dive into the how. I'm going to give you a simple, actionable plan that you can literally start using today. Honestly, it just comes down to these 3 little steps. First, we got to find that critical closing date. Second, you just set a reminder in your phone to make a manual payment a couple of days before that date. And third, you just sit back and let that beautiful, low balance get reported, which helps boost your score. Simple as that. So where the heck is this date hiding? It's easy, I promise. Just log into your bank's app or their website. Find the section for your statements. Open up the most recent PDF statement and just look for a line that says closing date or billing cycle ends. It's right there. Once you find it, put that date in your calendar with a reminder. Let's make this super concrete with an example. Let's say your closing date is always the 20th of the month. You don't wait for your due date way in the next month, no. You're going to make your payment around the 17th or 18th. That gives it plenty of time to post your account before the snapshot is taken on the 20th.
Now listen up, because this is a really crucial warning, especially if you love autopay. Autopay is fantastic for avoiding late fees, but it is terrible for this strategy. Why? Because autopay is almost always scheduled to pay after the statement closing date. By then, that high balance snapshot has already been taken, and you've basically lost the game for that month.
Ready to level this up? For those of you who are really aiming for those top-tier 800-plus scores, there's an advanced technique called all 0 except 1. Now, I know it sounds a little weird, but it turns out the credit scoring models don't love seeing 0 balances across all of your cards. It kind of makes them think you're not using credit at all. So with this AZO method, you pay all your cards down to 0 except 1. On that one card, you intentionally let a tiny little balance, like $10, report. By doing this, you're sending the perfect signal. You're showing that you're an active, but also an incredibly responsible credit user. You get the maximum score boost from low utilization, but you pay virtually no interest because, of course, you'll pay off that tiny balance by the due date anyway.
So why does all this work so fast? Well, if you look at all the factors that make up your credit score, your credit utilization, that's just the percentage of available credit you're using, is the one you can change the absolute quickest. Things like payment history and the age of your accounts, those take years to build. You can change your utilization in just a few days.
And here's the most beautiful part of this entire strategy. Credit utilization has no memory. Seriously, a high balance that was reported last month is completely forgotten. Poof, gone, by the scoring algorithm as soon as a new low balance is reported this month. This means your score can bounce back almost instantly.
And you know what the best part is? You do not have to wait months or years to see a change. If you implement this strategy today, you could see a real positive impact on your credit score in as little as 30 days. We're talking one single billing cycle.
So look, you now have the knowledge. You know the secret. You can stop letting the algorithm just happen to you, and you can start actively managing your financial reputation. The only question left is, are you ready to take control of your snapshot?